Hi, and thank you for tuning in to episode 13 of Beauty's Queens Random Thoughts, Happiness, and Ideas. I am your host, Beauty. Today, I have been trying to get this episode out because I wanted to talk about something, but I'd rather give you this way than the previous way in which you did not receive already because I didn't put it out. And it is this age-long story of Adam and Eve. And I just wanted to ask you a question. First of all, if you have not read this story for yourself, I implore you to read so, seeing as how it's the beginning of creation. Most people do believe in Adam and Eve, whether they believe in the whole thing or not. Never mind. Never mind all of that. My randomness. But in this story of Adam and Eve, Adam was told not that he could eat from all the trees except for the one that was in the midst of the garden with the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. And then the serpent comes and talks to Eve and asks her a question. And the question he asked her was, can you eat from all the trees of the garden? Which, if somebody asks you a question that they pretty much already know the answer to, you know they're up to some buffoonery anyway, right? So he asks her that question and she gives him an answer. She says, we can eat of all the trees except for this one, because if we eat from this tree, then we're going to die. So he says to her, you're not going to die. You'll be like God and knowing good from evil. And then she looked at the tree and see that it was one to be desired to have the knowledge of good and evil. And she ate. And it says that the story also says that she gave to her husband and he ate. And then it said their eyes were open. Now, my topic basically is trust. Now, if you're wondering how did I get that from that, then how long have you watched it? Which episode have you watched already? Because I'm always just random. But it's trust because Eve already knew not to eat of this tree. But, it's a saying that what comes to you first, whatever information you learn first is truth to you. But then it's that second mind that everybody say, well, you don't really call it a second mind, but what they say, second guess. You second guess yourself, but you should have followed your first mind. That's what people always say when something happened, like, man, I should have followed my first mind. I second guessed myself and then the second guess wasn't right. So, in trusting, and the reason why I got that from that is because she didn't trust what she already knew. Because in the beginning, she was made in a likeness and in the image of God already. So he tricked her to desire to know good from evil as opposed to desiring to have long life. And she looked at it in a very immature way, because she looked at it, oh, it looks good, but she didn't understand the fruit of which it produced or what's on the inside of it. And the reason why I chose that story for trusting is, who do you trust and why do you trust them? Is it a certain type of person that you trust, as in somebody who may do this thing and you're like, oh, they seem like I can trust them? Or is it because of what information they've given you or what they've shown you time over time? Or is it just truth that you trust? Meaning you don't have to know the person, but when you hear something they say, you can trust that it's truth because you know truth and what it sounds like. That's what I want to ask you today. I want you to comment. I want to say more, but I will leave it for the blog. Check me out on beautiesqueens.blogspot.com. And I'm going to write a little bit to go with this. So I'm Beauty and I'm TWO.